did you feel that the time has come to let the baby go without you and, take another form, another type of music?
Évidemment. Sure. Yeah, why not? In fact, you're entirely wrong. I don't mean to be, clever, but over the intervening years, I've always denied any commercial usage of any of this work to everybody, always, without exception. But I've never denied use of the work to children, institutions, colleges, hospitals, anywhere in the world that anyone has chosen to perform any piece of this work. I've always granted that permission without any charge and without any questions asked. Any non-commercial use of the work, and in consequence it has been performed hundreds of thousands of times all over the world by school children and others, and so I'm very glad that has happened. But I'm equally glad that the baby's coming back here for in this form, which is far grander and more demanding than has ever been the case in the past. Yeah, so I'm really happy about that.
You're just talking about, it's coming back to where it started. Can you just tell, there's been so many versions of how did it start, this infamous spitting accident. Can you tell us this version, how, when did you realize that something went terribly wrong and you had to do something about it?
No, I can't. And the reason that I can't is because, as we've all come to discover over the years, memory is a strange human device that is entirely unreliable. When I was a young man, we used to believe that the memory was a reliable device, and in consequence, a lot of jurisprudence is based upon eyewitness testimony and so on and so on. We now know that it's absolute nonsense, that people cannot remember things, and that we will make stuff up if it suits us. So I really have, I can make up a story now and tell you what happened, but whether it has anything to do with what I think happened was that I was pissed off or disaffected or something about playing to a large number of people who, with all due respect to the population of Montreal, were completely fucking drunk and not really paying much attention to anything that was going on stage. And some kid was scrabbling up the front, and I think I spat at him. But who knows whether I did or not. But I do remember that very soon after whatever happened that day, I realized that I was in the wrong place at the wrong time doing the wrong thing, and that I needed to express the fact that I didn't feel human and that I wanted to feel human. And my response to that was to write a show that involved building a huge wall between me and the people that I was trying to communicate with. And if only I could remember why I thought that was a good thing, I'd tell you, but I can't remember. Okay.
Isabelle Verge, agence QME. Une question, s'il vous plaît.
Yes.
It's working. Yeah, it's working. So, what's your involvement in the whole creative process of this opera?
So far, very little. I hope more. As I say, we had a meeting, I don't know how long ago it was, even a year, 2 years, a year and a half, I can't remember. But we've spent the whole morning, this morning, and I've looked at a lot of drawings produced by Dominique and Stéphane Roy, who is the designer involved. And I listened to about 15 minutes of the end of the first act of the thing. I'd already heard the beginning because Julien played it to me when we had the meeting before. I've got a CD, not in my pocket, but back at the hotel, of the rest of Act 1. I look forward to hearing Act 2. what I've heard so far is extremely impressive. They've thanked me very effusively for giving up my time and coming here. And I'm saying, this is what I live for. I live for these kind of collaborations. I say often to people about the rewards, for instance, of what it is that I do for a living. The work is the reward. Being involved in the work is the reward. It's by far the greater reward than any cash somebody might drop you anywhere along the way. To be collaborating with extremely talented people in something that is challenging, difficult, demanding, is the best thing that I like doing with my time. So I hope to be much more involved than I have been up to this point, and to come to Montreal often as this develops, and to watch the baby grow into something that I have no doubt will be a compelling adult. And I look forward to that moment of birth that we will see next year.
Valérie Michaela Bain. J'ai l'impression d'être dans une clinique à appeler les noms.
Mr. Rogers, pardon me. You said you were moved by what you heard, that you were not believing that it was possible to create a collaboration between the opera and your music. What is it about what you heard that moved you? And you said you were extremely pleased. Can you elaborate as to how it makes you feel and how you're seeing this project going forward?
Okay, well, it's quite simple, and that is that normally when people take rock music and produce symphonic versions of it, they stick slavishly, feeding back, it's at about 60 hertz. So we could trim that a bit, that would be a good thing. Yeah, normally they stick slavishly to the melody, so you get a symphony orchestra going da da dee da, and it's awful normally, because that's not the way it was arranged in the first place, and we've all got used to it. Well, Julien has nodded gracefully at the work that I did musically all those years ago. And you can hear it. I can hear it in what he's done, but he's transported it into a completely different oeuvre. So it's developing a life of its own, which is in a classical tradition, and where the musical ideas that you can catch bits of, if you listen to it carefully, are still treated with respect, but nevertheless are developed in sophisticated ways that I wouldn't attempt. So that's one thing. The other thing is that the libretto is my libretto, so the words are mine, and so the thoughts and the ideas expressed in the text belong to me. But this team have understood them and are devoted to them in a way that is both intellectually compelling but also emotionally enveloping. And because of the conversations I've had with Julien and Dominique and Pierre and everybody involved, I know that they understand what it is that I feel, and I know that they are expressing it. And in a way, it's only through listening to these third parties that I can accept the measure of gravitas that exists in my work. So I thank them for nodding in my direction and saying this is something that we would like to work on, because they also, you can tell when you're in a room with people that the work is the reward for them too. And the reason that the work is the reward is because the work is serious, but that also the work connects us to our humanity It connects us to whatever it is that connects us to all the other human beings in the world. And that's why it is important to us. And that's why I'm so pleased to be involved in this project and why I'm so enthusiastic about it.
Are you giving them full creative freedom for this?
Good God, no. Yeah, of course I am. I mean, I can't, yeah, of course. But nevertheless, it's sitting in the room this morning. We are nevertheless a team. This is a team of people. And when you're in a collaboration, your ear is tuned to your collaborators. And so in the same way that I'm listening to everything that they're doing and saying, I know they're listening to everything that I'm saying as well. And it is out of this collaboration that we will produce something that is hopefully greater than the sum of the parts. On va voir.
Brendan Kelly de the Gazette.
My question, I was a little kid, but I was...
It was you!
You know what, I was there, no, I was pretty far away, I was way up there. But it wasn't, like I couldn't hear anything, it was not, and I thought it was interesting, like it was not, this was a kind of terrible moment for you, and it was not, like how do you feel about bringing it back to the city, which was actually, like at the start, is an unpleasant memory, there was a bit of a riot, it was not a great night for probably most concerned, yourself, myself, so how do you feel, it's kind of a bit of irony in there.
I couldn't care less, really, about that. It's entirely irrelevant, I mean, if somehow that incident, and it was unpleasant. I mean, I accept that. I was unpleasant. It was unpleasant. The audience were unpleasant. It was unpleasant. But if it, it clearly had an effect on me, and the story that I tell is that it had something to do with me creating this piece of theatre. So it got me involved in a piece of theatre, which is extremely valuable to me. And clearly it may well have been part of my journey from, we all stem from the same damaged roots. We all have that inner child who feels abandoned. Some of us express it more forcibly than others, but we've all got it. It's one of the things that makes it possible for us to relate to one another. So I don't know what else to say, really. That bit of history is really just a convenience. It means I can talk to you about the work coming home to Montreal, but which I saw on one level, I mean it, but on another level, it's just an anecdote. And the other stuff, what happened here this morning in the room with the collaboration is the important bit of it. And also the performance next year will be the important bit of it as well, because I believe it's going to be stunning. And from what I've seen this morning and what I heard this morning, I'm engaged and, as I said before, very enthusiastic. But the spitting at you, who cares?
Une dernière question, a last question. TVA, Marie-André Poulain.
The premiere would be here in Montreal. Do you think there's possibilities that this opera might travel all around the world?
But there's no question about it. I have absolutely...
Would you like to?
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, I have no doubt that somebody else will be helping pay for this, because I know about the world of opera. I have my own opera that's about the French Revolution, and I'm constantly working on it. And we're constantly working with opera companies in Brazil or in Wales or in here or there or the other. Or I'm giving a couple of concert performances in Istanbul in November. So I'll be working with a 70-piece band and 6 soloists, and I take part in it. So much as we all love opera, well, maybe we don't all, but much as I love opera, it's a constant work to keep, to produce new works like this will be, but also to keep Mozart and Puccini in front of us, so that, and in front of our children and grandchildren, so that they can not just enjoy the work, but understand what it is, and the depth of the intellectual and emotional work that goes into producing opera. So I'm certain that this will find its life in other cities, other opera companies, and other places around the world. Okay.